Hi there, I'm Tyler, and I'm here with the Gauntlet community, which if you watch many of my videos, I play with the Gauntlet a lot, some of the greatest people around. If you would like to find us, we're on like Facebook, we're on G Plus community. You can find us at gauntlet-rpg.com. Some of the best people in the world you're going to ever get the chance to play with. And we're playing Pigsmoke today, which is a great game about a wizarding college, but it's taking it from the perspective of the teachers and the professors who honestly really would rather not have to teach these terrible children who are just trying to get by, get their research, get their tenure, make their money, and be bothered as little as possible by these horrible, horrible students. We have three great players with us. Before we start, I want to say we have the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, which is basically that we're all friends. We're all here to support each other. Everyone should feel, welcome. We're trying to help each other out and just have a good time together. And we also have the X card on the table, which for anybody who doesn't know, if something gets problematic, something's hurting your fun, something is just a little too personal or gets too gruesome or whatever the reason, you could put up something like this, put up an X in the chat, or say to me, hey, Tyler, I think I want to X that. There's no problem with that. I may ask for a clarification just to know what I'm working with. I'll rewind. We'll start, reframe, and off we'll go again. No one has any obligation whatsoever to say why. However, if there's something you want to unload, we have our chat. We have our G+, our event. Or we could take a moment and we could talk about it here. Again, we're all friends, so we're here to support each other. That said, we're playing Pigsmoke, which is kind of a dark, funny game. We have these teachers who are not particularly nice to their students. We have backbiting. We have an administration that kind of doesn't care or expects things of us that are just a huge pain in our butt, that sort of thing. I generally have a thing with no violence to children. However, with Pigsmoke, we're teaching these students. Now, they're older students. They're, in that 16, 17 up to early 20s. But at the same time, we will probably do things to them. It just happens. That's what happens in wizarding schools. It's worth keeping in mind that much like, say, a Harry Potter, no kids really will die. They'll be sent off to the infirmary, and they may come back with an extra arm out of their chest or something. But everybody sort of gets through these stories. It does have a dark humor, and I do like a little gore and a little body horror, so we may see some gruesomeness along the way. Other than that, though, we have it's not a terribly problematic situation. We came up last time with some of our thoughts for our concept, some of our ideas for what we wanted to see, and we got a little bit of playing in. But first, before we start jumping in, I'd like for everybody to introduce their characters and tell us a little bit about them. So I'll start with you, Pavel, if you don't mind. Tell us about your character.
Hello, I'm playing Mortimer Blackrose. Mortimer, he looks like a very good, proper villain from any kind of movie where you have a necromancer or some dark lord. He has this long cloak from underneath. Some bony hands sometimes appear. He has this hood that only makes his a very small portion of his face actually be seen. I found some image that kind of shows what I want. So if you scroll down below my character, you can find it. He has a proper black eyeliner, but apart from that, his attitude is very different. I decided to change my attitude because I thought that I'm not going for the anarchist at all. So I decided to change it to genuinely cool, because I think that's how I'm playing it. So he's actually the nice necromancer guy, or at least that's how he wants to appear. Mortimer is rockstar by role and Department of Life and Death. If the description wasn't enough, he is here because he replaced Zoe. But we also discovered that Zoe is part of his zombie army now. So so far, I think only Antonia noticed this. But he has a pressure to perform well. so that maybe his thing with Zoe will not be discovered. Who knows? Yeah, he's a high pressure. He already had together with Antonia some project ongoing, but he also had this very bad deal with Professor Snee. So yeah, we'll see how he will how he will perform today.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And now, Ludo, would you introduce us to your character?
So I'm playing Antonia Bandoni. She's a staple of the university, been there for almost a decade now. She's kind of the workhorse of the alchemy department. Her research is not very sexy, is not very famous, is seen as outdated. The thing is, if you want anything done at all, you have two options. You either tangle with the infamous bureaucracy of Pigsmoke, or you go to Antonia. So she has kind of a very pliable reputation between the staff and the students, and she actually is likable enough that she managed to maneuver the politics of Pigsmoke.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Asher, would you introduce your character, please?
All right, my character is Blaze Galaxy. So he's newer to the school, and I think his research is more about the school than about anything in particular. And he's a YouTube celebrity, so he's always trying to film what's going on and raise his following and teach people what's going on. What he like be a public face for this education. And he's always wearing cool sunglasses and dressed to impress. So. And then his department is calling, binding, and sealing away, or CBA essay. I don't know. So they have all sorts of demons and things. So one of them is his patron called Mother Monster, who wants him to do things. Yeah, that's basically it.
Excellent. And we're going to get into some of what Mother Monster is wanting from you as we go along here and play. I'm going to do a real quick recap of what we did last time. We created our characters, which took a good bit of time, and made our world, which I think was really cool to do, but meant we had a little bit shorter time to play. But last time, we all of our teachers taught and got an XP for that. And during the course of that, we had Professor Galaxy had taken out his class to bind some of the nasty things that were here in the school. And we saw little Sally Cinnamon come back, and she was acting very strangely after that excursion out to stop spirits. And vampires in particular were mentioned. And we saw little Sally Cinnamon as she left say, "Thank you, Professor," and grab a spider and head out. So something odd with her. We had also started the research project with Antonia and Mortimer, where they were trying to create plants that produced rare materials, gold, silver, unusual metals. And they had brought in Professor Snee from Foresight to help them. And they had been fairly productive, discovering needed citrus, but then Antonia had made a mutation to strawberries so it'd go quicker, and about halfway through. So really working on this research very well. We had Antonia meet and speak with a new professor, the professor of mind bending, who is Professor Titania from the Arcadian University. And we got some feelings that she might be a little odd. And someone had even come up with that the Arcadians were actually fairies. And she had come to Antonia saying that she had a project she was interested in where you could maybe take out all those unpleasant, unnecessary thoughts from these students so you could plug the teaching right in. and had talked to Antonia about maybe making some gyms where we could store the students' memories. And then we had Mortimer, who had run a LARP not terribly long ago, where some of the students had gotten a little beat up by the overzealous zombie LARP monsters, and had and that had caused a bit of an issue. We had also had, I believe, let me look here at my notes just real quick. Yes, we had the. Sorry. There we go. We had seen our dean, who looks very much like the Oscar statue. He's a golem, completely gold, shiny, and is known for being. Y'all hearing things? My dog's over here scratching beneath the microphone. Just ignore her. But he believes that Pigsmoke is going to be just this great academy, and that he's looking for the worthy students, the ones that really can do their best. And had also come to Mortimer to talk about one of the not very great students, young Sir Jonathan Ford, whose father was a very influential person, and wanted to make sure that Mortimer knew he really needed to do well. And then we had ended with Professor Galaxy going up to the head of Foresight, Professor Tolliman, and seeing her kind of walking around with this little ball and peeking into various rooms, gone up to ask if maybe she wouldn't mind doing some videos on the YouTube with him. But she kind of, you can watch me teach, but that's all I think would be appropriate. And so Professor Galaxy had stolen the spirit out of her crystal ball, and it had sort of inhabited him and had given him a rot arm, so that he has a harm going on. And just to come back, I believe we'd also seen Professor Galaxy looking through got into a janitor's closet, being called by Mother Monster, and had seen someone go down in it, and looked, and there was a stairway down which led to kind of a sewer river underneath the castle, and where a boat had been tied up, the boat was gone. And so Professor Galaxy had said, maybe I'll come back to this later. And I think that was a lot of what we'd done, and I'd like to start with us where we left off, with you, Professor Galaxy, as we have this spirit that you've stolen from the ball, and it's here with you, and you feel the tingly deadness feel of your arm. But you are going to have an opportunity to kind of talk with this spirit. You can hear it kind of roiling in your head, and it's searching. It's where am I? What is going on?
It's all right. You're here with me.
Oh, I'm not in that terrible ball anymore. What do you want of me?
I saw you opening a secret passage or something.
That woman. She had me searching. A calling. A terrible calling. A scream of pain. A wail of death.
That's ominous. So what do you want now that you're out of the ball?
I wish to be free.
So maybe I'll go to Mortimer and
okay,
try to free this, or at least get it out of me.
All right then. So you head over to Mortimer's office. Mortimer, why don't you tell us as we have Professor Galaxy showing up. What is in your office that is surprising? You would not expect in a necromancer, in a life and death professor's office. What unusual thing is there?
I'm thinking. Feel free to drop something if you have some idea, Blaze. Unusual.
Any thoughts, Asher?
It looks like you're a spirit. Maybe something related to that. I don't know, looking at the picture that you have.
I think someone, well, maybe not something like super unexpected, but maybe there is a table for like tabletop miniature games, and we see some zombies playing versus skeletons, and I'm sometimes like taking like a result of the matches and the decision they make, because it's fascinating that a thing without a brain like a skeleton can still think and play this game. So we see them like moving these little figures slowly.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and to just remind us, my office is in a dump dungeon, so it's like there's like a huge, almost like this. The entrance looks like something from this ancient cultures from South America, like a big mask at the entrance, and then you go down, and there are like plenty of rooms where I have my books and my classroom, and then my office, which I imagine is like almost like a summoning place. There's like a big table in the middle where you can summon some undead or something, but just next to it is like a cool desk. Professor Galaxy, how nice of you to come by. Please, take a seat. And I'm just like brushing off the dust from some chair.
All right, so I'll sit down across from you. And just say like, oh, I found this this interesting spirit. I was wondering if you had something to help heal me after I bind it into something, or
do you show him your arm?
Sure.
Ooh, all right, Mortimer. You see this rot on his arm, and you could probably sense that spirit that's lurking about him as well.
Oh my! I'm sorry.
All right.
Oh my! How long has this been going on? It seems like this arm has been rotting for a month.
Not that long. I just got to the school a month ago, so.
You tell him it just happened to, about an hour ago? Do you tell
Yeah, more like an hour.
I see some powerful spirit at play over here. Please, can I just call you Blaze? It will be like much faster than this like nonsense professor.
All right, Mortimer.
Oh yeah, that's much better. So, Blaze, tell me something more about this spirit. Do you just want me to like take it out from your arm, or should we like, I don't know, secure it somewhere?
I can help bind it. That's what I do. If that's something you need, I just need my arm better, you know.
That's a spirit. Does the spirit have some particular interesting information that I can use maybe in the future? Is it worth binding it?
It might. Yeah, that's how I found it. Bound to an object, and then I touched the object, and it came into me.
Fascinating. You see these little things, and then just show to the zombies and skeletons. They're directed by unknown magic, but spirits are something different. Yes. Here, and then just like take some big skull, like maybe it'd be like a let's say it's like a human skull. I just like put it on a table. It's like complete with the jaw and everything. Yes. I'm almost certain that if you can direct if you can we do like a combined thing that I'll be healing him and he'll be pushing the spirit into the skull, or would it be like 2 rolls? I don't know.
I think it'd probably be 2 rolls.
If you can store the spirit over here in the skull, that would so that I can like converse with it normally without too much danger to myself. I'm pretty sure I will be able to fully heal your arm in a very short manner. But yeah, it will be very hard to do to heal you with this thing still inside you. We'll see in 1 hour the spirit has made your arm rot so much, so we first need to take it out. So here is a perfect object. If you can just release it from you, I think that's your thing more than mine. I'm pretty sure I can like.
Are you sure this isn't dangerous? Putting it in a skull head does seem like they could bite you or something. You were just playing with skulls attacking people.
No, I'm certain it will be completely safe. It's just a skull. What can it do? Besides, it will be then able to talk to us and tell us fascinating stories of what it has seen, what it has been doing.
All right. Well, just in case, I'll film this. I'll take out my camera and start it recording, and then cast my spell.
Yes. Of course. Then we have to like make it like a proper dark thing. Let's move to this huge stone table and like put the skull in the very middle, and then just like take some vase with some creepy plants. I don't imagine those are the plants that eat bugs, and then just like put it just next to it. As soon as you release it, I will just wrap your hand in these plants, and it will transfer the life force from the plants to your arm. Yes, let's do it. I just like correct myself in the mirror. Yes. I look.
Get the set together first.
All right. Okay. Sounds like y'all are set to go. Asher, how does it look when Blaze begins to? How does your magic look? Because I'm guessing this will be a magic roll. Cast a spell to pull it out of you and put it into there. So how does your magic look?
I think it's very flashy, right? Like it's very, starry and silver and.
Do you chant? Do you do motions?
I think I'm humming, right? Like it's a kind of resonance with the spirit.
Cool.
Trying to find to like push it out.
All right then. So as you begin your humming and the energies rise up, why don't you roll that cast a spell with sorcery?
I did and failed. I got a 4 + 2 is 6. So.
All righty. I did put up a roll for your party. I think I don't know if I don't think it's the same one we used last time, but it's up there in the chat. All right. So what did you roll?
6.
Oh, me. All right. And so as you begin casting it, you could feel it pulled from you. Mortimer, you hear this sort of guttural scream as the spirit leaves, and the energy begins moving it towards the skull, and as it's screaming, it's going, no, not back in that. Release me. And you can sense this backlash going on as it is trying to claw at Blaze to not go into this skull. And you can see where that rotted arm is. It's beginning to burst. You can see that there's like pus and ichor coming out of the arm as it's bursting open as this thing is fighting. What would you like to do?
What can I do? Yes, I snap my fingers to get attention of my skeletons and zombies, and I shout at them, quick, grab the skull and surround the spirits, and like let's push the skull into the spirit so that it cannot escape it, and then I will also like somehow cast some magic to not allow it to escape too much, and they will just like with the skull just like try to put it on the spirit.
Excellent. Okay, do you think that that's using your Walking Dead, or you think you're casting a spell?
I think I'm risking physical danger, but I'm using my zombie army.
Okay.
So my Walking Dead allows me, when you have them fight for you, I'm not sure if this is fight for me. I roll adventuring with sorcery, and they can take the harm in case. Does it fit?
And no, maybe it's something like since you're telling them to hold on to this, maybe you're having them fetch something. Maybe you're in a way having them use their spiritual energy, you think? Or do you, again, it could be a cast a spell if you think.
I'm honestly not sure, because one of the fetching options is that they fetch something wrong, but maybe it will be fun. I don't know. It can be also fetching, like trying to. So they are trying to catch the spirit which is trying to escape. Can be fetched very well. Why not?
Okay. Yeah, let's try that.
Submit. It's a 7, barely, but it's a 7 because it's plus sorcery. So what it reads: when you send them to fetch something for you, roll plus sorcery on a 7 to 9. They either come back quickly with something that they think that isn't quite right, or they come back with right thing but take much longer to return.
So which would you prefer? And I'm going to kind of tell you a little of the stakes here. If it takes a bit longer, it may hurt Blaze. Or since I know that would actually put you into the hospital, Blaze, I might say it does more of a burnout on you. It's going to be clawing at your spirit, and so it's probably going to, drain you, kind of take energy if it takes a long time. Or you could go with it's quick, but then they don't fetch it quite right. Something's going to go wrong, and I have an idea for that. So what do you think, Mortimer?
Yeah, let's go with that. That they fetch it very quickly, but something isn't quite right. I think it's
all right.
More fun.
Then, as they're surrounding and they're sort of stroking you, Blaze, as they're trying to corral this spirit, and you could feel it's tugging at you, but as the skin's bursting and all, that energy of the spirit sort of sucks into one of these skeletons, and it goes, I have a body. I have a body. Ha 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 ha. And you see, Mortimer, that this spirit has inhabited one of your skeletons and is now dancing around ecstatic because he is now free and has a body to move around in.
No worries, Blaze. No worries. We'll deal with it in a moment. Now let's take care of your wounded arm. And then just take your arm and then just put it in the middle of this vase with this plants that usually eat bugs. So they just wrap around your arm and bite it, and then I just keep it there, and then just speak in a very dark language, and we see that the plants began to dwindle and die, and hopefully their life energy will go into regenerating your arm. So we see the flesh growing back and everything.
Well, that's definitely going to be cast a spell. It sounds like you've described it well. So let's see see how it turns out.
Yeah, definitely. Reroll. Yeah, it's a 6.
Oh, all right. Let's see, with a 6, I'm casting.
You don't even get an XP.
Yes, unfortunately, no XP. All right. As this plant begins to wrap around you, Blaze, around your arm, and you could feel it, starting the energy of the wounds do begin to close, but as they do, you could feel this plant kind of growing into you as well as it's trying to fix everything. And the energies that are going on from this plant, it stings, it burns, and as you're pulling away from it, out it comes. But you have now these vines. You're not hurt anymore, But you now have on your arm these vines that are sort of wound around and have grown out and into your arm.
I'm great. Everyone loves my arm.
But you've lost your hurt condition, though we may come up with something unusual that'll go on here with these vines. But as you look around, Mortimer, not only that plant, but several other of your plants have given their life. They've withered up as this magic you cast cost a lot of these plants their essence.
Ah, Blaze. You see, I've done exactly this. Your arm is fixed. So, yeah, I think it was a very successful day at the university.
Excellent. We'll hold there with you guys a moment, and we do have this spirit in a skeleton, which is dancing around. But I want to hop over there to you, Antonia. As you were in your office, tell us something in your office that is personal and reminds you of home.
I think Antonia has on their desk. She has a bunch of photos, which there are across the ages with different groups, which she was included over the years in the university. And the only photo that is not related somehow to Pigsmoke is one with her and her brother and her brother's partner, and there is a part of the photo that is clearly being ripped apart, and you can only see what remains of a hand of that part. That's the only token that she has among these memorabilia of previous groups.
Nice. All right. And as you're there in your office, comes gliding in, and as she does, there's a smell of flowers and cut grass as Professor Titania comes walking into your office. Oh, Professor, I was so hoping we could have a moment to talk. You see, she has with her a young student, probably about 15, 16, who is smiling, and cute young girl, got pigtails, wearing her little uniform. Do you have a moment that we could discuss our little experiment we could be working on?
Yes, I have a moment to go through the literature.
Wonderful. I was hoping, as we had mentioned before, that we could you could find some repository for, careless thoughts that go on in students' heads. Little Missy, and she pats her on the head, the little girl, she has a terrible time concentrating. I was wondering if perhaps if I showed you my technique, then you could work on something that would hold these thoughts, for her, of course, and then we can give her back these thoughts once she's finished. Once she's finished her studies, this will give her more concentration. And she moves over to the little girl, and she looks in her eyes, and she begins making motions by her head. And as she does, you see these little wisps of light come from her forehead and begin to form up in this ball, little glowing ball in front of her. And as she does this, you see Missy stop fidgeting, and she sort of gets a little blank-faced. And Titania goes, these are those pesky thoughts. Antonia, perhaps you could find something that will hold them. And as she's doing this, you could see that she's having to kind of concentrate to hold them there. What do you do?
First of all, as this is happening, I use "This is my life now," and I select that I know something interesting and useful about whatever is happening. So I'm studying a lot about Titania's process and what seems to be her limitations, like what is her precision, and maybe what's keeping her focus and why she needs to concentrate.
All right. First off, the thing that you notice is this is not the standard magic taught here at Pigsmoke. Here in Pigsmoke, it's formulas, and magic works because there are certain processes. What she's doing seems very natural and kind of alien, different than what you've studied. But you see she's drawing out and looking in this girl's eyes where she was talking about just stray thoughts and things that were keeping her from concentrating. You're pretty sure she's taking out nearly everything this girl has in her mind.
So Antonia takes the most intrigued person. Oh, this is very interesting. But as I mentioned to you, I suggested crystals because of their strong capacity for preserving their conformation and structure. So this seems to be taking a lot of effort for Professor Titania. I wonder, can Professor Titania reprint what she takes without modification? Because this might be important for crystal stabilization. I want to know how stable the process is, so there is no unintentional loss.
All right, and she, as you're talking with her, she says, "I myself can hold them here. If we place them in something, hopefully they would be stable there, and then I could withdraw them and place them back."
Might I just suggest the student? It has the perfect conformation for those exact thoughts. If you can put better on the student, you should be able to put also on a crystal that mimics the student's mind.
So you want to see her put it back in?
Yeah, I want to see if she actually hurts the student, even just manipulating.
Okay. She says, oh, I understand. And as she's sort of focusing, you see that ball begin to dissolve back down, and it back to the little girl who sort of, and she starts smiling and fidgeting again. And Titania goes, it is tiring, which is why I was hoping for something that would hold. Then I could concentrate on other things. But it looks like once it back into the little girl, she looks okay.
Mm-hmm. So Antonia is starting to have, so if I make good crystal structure, even if she starts messing around too much, maybe we can revert whatever she is doing when she goes back to Arcadia. And, well, it seems that your limitation seems to be based on your raw magical potential. My current limitations is based on creating the crystals on the exact conformation. So I'm actually working on a project with my fellow companions of the Foresight and Life and Death department, which allows us to harness materials on specific conformation through biological medium. So we can perhaps adapt that to make crystals that match the conformation of a biological system, like the human brain. But this is only theory, and we'll see how our research goes in that direction. So I cannot promise you anything immediate until we are done with this project and we know if it's viable or not.
Oh, Professor, I am so pleased that you're willing to work on this. I certainly continue your work, and if there's anything I can do to help, please come to me. And she reaches out and she sort of touches you on the arm. And as she does, you feel this warm friendliness from her. I appreciate it so much. You're such a dear. Thank you, Antonia. Come along, Missy. And she takes the girl and heads out.
Okay, as she's leaving out, I turn around, I grab my phone, I open our group on Magic App, and we said, guess who just came out of my office?
Excellent. So we'll cut there to, I think, let's see, to go back to Mortimer and Blaze for a moment. Do we feel like there was anything y'all want to do after this? Where you saved, or is that the end of scene, you think?
I think I want to take the skeleton back. I want to let him keep it. But I'm not sure how to do that.
Yeah, Mortimer, do you think you're gonna? Do you want to keep the skeleton? If so, then we can have.
Of course, I want to keep the skeleton. It's after all, it's my body. It's one of my skeletons.
Well, then we can have Blaze. If you want to try, you can scale to try and convince Mortimer to give you this skeleton. And I'd have you again. This is a compulsion move, which means, Mortimer, you don't have to do it. You can explain why the scathe doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do it and get an XP. But we would have you first, Blaze, kind of describe what you say, how you could try to convince Mortimer to let you take this skeleton and roll. Do you want to do that? Or y'all want to just negotiate? You want to try that? Okay.
Because this is part of my research. So, like, I come in here looking for help with my research, and you just take it from me, literally, right, and put it in your own.
All right. So, what do you say? How do you tell Mortimer? No. I want to take this skeleton.
I think I just like assume that I can take it, like. So Mortimer, what kind of box are you gonna put the skeleton in for me?
Well, I thought that you wanna get rid of the spirit, so you probably don't need it anymore. Yes, your arm is fine.
Well, I didn't need it in me, but I do need the spirit for my research.
Well, you see, we are having lack of bodies around our department, so I'm not sure. I'm authorized to let you just walk out with it. How about it's like stays here? I will keep watch on it that it doesn't escape. You see, it's like behaving weirdly, dancing. I don't think you can like keep it in one place. Maybe I think it's much safer if it stays here. And if you wanna talk with it, you can just come. I can like put it in one of the rooms closer to the entrance, so that you don't have to always come to my office. But I think it's here. It's safer.
Well, we can just get more bodies, right? Like you can just order.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure if you can. There's been a badly shortage. I think I'm checking the name of my head of the department.
Ichiro.
I think Ichiro had broke some deals with the local gravedigger, so we are currently very low on the bodies. If you can acquisition me some new bodies, I'm sure I can then be fully authorized to release this one, so you can have it.
All right. That comes to you then, Asher. Do you wish to make a stand here and try the scathe, or do you want to maybe go and see if you can procure more bodies and make a trade?
I'll try to trade. I think I want to see what he does with his spirit first to see if I could even manage it, you know?
Okay. So,
or if he can manage it, because he might just come back to me to bind it to something else, right?
All right, then. So we will end scene with you kind of deciding, okay, I'll go see if I can find some bodies. So you head out. And Mortimer, we have this skeleton with a spirit inside of it, and it is sort of rambunctious. It's finally able to move around. I can pick up things. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to say to it?
Hey! That's my office. You stand right there, and let's have a discussion. You know, I'm Mortimer. Nice to meet you. Who you are?
I am called Maxwell. I was a ghost hunter many years ago, and then my spirit was lost. I wandered as a terrible ghost myself until that horrible woman found me, and she put me into a ball.
Oh, which professor are you talking about, if I can ask?
Professor Talamond.
Oh, I'm surprised that the foresight department had any use for a goat. That's very unusual. Do you mind telling me what you were doing over there? Were they treating you badly? You know, because over here we like spirits, so.
He looks around, he sees your other, your zombies and your skeletons, the ones playing the game, and you can see he's like, ooh, a game, that's, something to do. And he says, she had me searching. She said there was a creature beneath Pigsmoke, a being that could see death when it comes, that it screams when death is near. I would go, she would put me, and I would have to listen to this scream. And every time it would chill the spirit of me. It would make my essence royal. She wanted me to bring her closer. She said that it would give her the knowledge that would make her research complete.
So is such a creature actually exist below this Pigsmoke? Have you actually found it?
I could hear it, always hear it, and I could get closer, but we could not find a proper passage. Now, Blaze, remind me. It was Talimon that you had followed down the stairway, though, right?
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Because I saw her carrying this crystal ball, so that's why I stole it later.
So I just needed to remind myself of that real quick. So Mortimer, he says, we had discovered a passageway to a river beneath Pigsmoke, and a boat. She had me guide her down this river, and the screams grew louder. We reached a brass door. The screams were very loud behind it. She tried to open it, but could not. In her anger, she said there must be a key.
That's very interesting story. I'm sure maybe I should talk about it with Ichiro, and maybe we can find, because that's something right our alley for my department. So if I can ask you to not leave this safe haven, you know, people outside are not very used to seeing, but I'm sure you can find some company with Zoe over there, and with the others. We can play some games.
All right, roll me a schmooze. Let's see if Maxwell's all interested in staying here. You've got a lot of things to entertain him.
Yeah. He's not a student or my TA, so that will be a pretty difficult role. Let's see. You're all selected. Oh, it's a 7.
All right. He goes, says, yes, that would be good. Do you mind if I read your books?
Yep, sure. Go ahead.
I haven't been able to read in years. And he starts going over it. He's just going through your library. So now we'll... yes, sir?
Just keep the books in order. I like to know where they are, so just don't make a mess, and you can read them.
Okay. So we'll have Maxwell is there hanging out in Life and Death and reading through your books, at least for now. And I think we're going to kind of... Antonia, I wouldn't mind coming to you real quick, as Professor Snee has come to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had your doubts about him and his assistance to your research. But we're in a new week now, and he comes up to you. Excuse me, Professor Badoni. I have seen something in the entrails about our research.
Please tell me more.
Your work so far with these plants. And so I looked into the guts, and they told me you need a spirit of power, something ancient that will teach you how the roots can pull these materials up. I saw, and as he says this, the smoke from a candle in your office begins to swirl, and he shows, as it moves up, you see this enormous tree form in the smoke.
What is this? Some kind of nature spirit?
It is the tree of endless roots, an ancient oak. Within it resides a spirit that knows the ways of ancient plants. It can tell us the secrets of roots that draw this energy. You must go and speak with the tree of endless roots. Ask it for its assistance. That is what the entrails have told me. And that will be his addition this week to your research. So marking one more box. And so Antonia, as he pronounces this, and he's feeling very self-satisfied that he's given you this insight, and he will, do you have any questions for him more, or what would you like to do with this information?
So Antonia is not very keen in adventuring. So she starts to think, okay, who can possibly know anything about nature? Because does not seem to be the kind of thing that any of us is really good. So who might we know that might be good about this? And maybe I can persuade them to look into it, and maybe commit to do some work that I actually want to do.
Okay. You know that the Department of Paraveterinary Medicine is often out in the wilderness. They have people who know those sorts of things. Life and death. There are members of Life and Death that deal with plants, life. That's probably your best bet for people who kind of know nature.
Mm-hmm.
Elemental, the Department of Elemental also knows some about, like the earth and things that grow in it. So any of those folks you'd like to go and speak with, or?
Okay, so before I inform Mortimer of this, and I tell him, yeah, I always used to think that plants were the best conjugation of life and death, because 80% of their matter is dead matter. But I'm not sure if what we know is enough, because otherwise Snow will not feel the need to compel if it was something that we could get on our own. So maybe I'll just ask around the parliamentary if they know anything about this oak, and then I'll hit the books later this week. So
Okay.
after I email him this, I'll try to meet with someone of the paraveterinary department and try to persuade them to help me with this.
All right. So Paravets. Do you think you're going to go over to their department, or are you going to go try and see them at like the dining hall, or that? Okay.
Yeah, I try to ambush them on the cafeteria because they cannot send me to the bureaucracy, which is something that she really likes to avoid. So she just goes, try to see who of the paraveterinary is having lunch and sit with them.
Okay. So as you head into the dining hall, there are always, some people who are in there. People eating at weird times, and the departments tend to kind of sit together, as in like there's a table that usually life and death will sit at, and the teachers have a high table, so the students down below, the teachers up above, and you see that there are two of the veterinary teachers who are sitting at one end of the teaching high table. You could tell it's first off, you may recognize them, but you could tell always the veterinary people, because they invariably have some weird creature with them. And you see that currently these two are talking with, are looking at, it's an animal about like that big, furry. You would swear it looks like a rabbit, an enormous rabbit, only it has the head of a frog. And as you come over, they're stroking it, and it'll go, tongue jerks out, grabs something off one of their plates, pulls it back in. And these two, I'm going to give them names real quick. Is Professor Zach Tam, Z-A-K, second word T-A-M-M. And the other is Professor Moff, M-O-F-F. And so as you head over to them, they look up, and Professor Tam says, Professor Randoni, what can we do for you?
I was wondering if how's your department been doing with the new guest, and how you been this first week?
Oh, the Professor Titania. Odd sort. He looks over at his colleague. We're not really sure she's a wizard at all. We think that she's a fairy.
You don't say.
Not proper magic, that.
No, nothing proper about that.
Not sure what the dean was thinking bringing a fairy here. Not going to be able to teach any of the students that. That's all inbred.
Well, I think the story is more complicated than it seems. I wish I could tell you more, but yeah. So, what do you know about Arcadia?
Well,
you seem to be very familiar with Titania's place of origin.
Well, there's a great many of the more unusual animals and creatures that come from Arcadia. Fairy creatures. Sometimes they make their way across, and they cause all sorts of havoc here in the mortal world. Sprites, unicorns. Oh, those unicorns. Dangerous things, them. They sneak across, and it's always up to us to have to go and take care of them.
Have you catch sight of any fairy animals around? Because Titania probably did not came along.
Well, there is a rumor. Haven't seen it for sure myself, but it's said that a troll has taken up residence out in the forest beyond Pigsmoke. We haven't had trolls here in years and years and years. Now, some of us think if a fairy's come, probably left a door open. They're careless people, those fairies.
I remember Professor Billy. He was here when I was a student. He kept talking about how he and his brothers got rid of the trolls. Poor good Billy.
Well, if we have another one here, it's going to end up being a problem. Invariably, they will come for our sweets. Trolls love sweets.
How about the probability of cross-pollination with flora? Because invading species can be dragged by people coming in and out of strange portals. And do you get fairy plants?
Oh, yes.
Do they thrive here?
Yeah, they'll thrive anywhere. They, once they start rooting, they will stick around. And they do all sorts of things. Some of them will make you fall asleep forever. Some of them will take your joy. They are very dangerous, our fairy plants. So if you see any of them, get in touch with us immediately.
I will. In fact, I think I have to admit I don't know much about established literature in terms of spirit plants and fairy plants. Maybe if you can send me some of these books, I can maybe study them over the week, and I might, I don't know, make a brochure to the students so that they keep alert and notice if we see anything weird.
All right, why don't I have you... I'm going to give you an option here. You could try and smooth them, or you could try and do a purchase order working off through them. The purchase order works off bureaucracy. The schmooze works off charisma. But with the purchase order, they would, it would be you signing out books from that department, seeing if they're willing to let you do it. Schmooze would be these guys doing you a favor. What do you think?
I think I'll rather have the favor, because if there is a paper trail, Titania might get suspicious.
All right. So why don't we roll... it sounds like you've been trying to butter them up and being nice to them, so I think we've worked that. So why don't we roll that charisma?
So I get an 8.
All right. Well, they're going to want a payment, a favor, or a bribe. So I think that they look at you, and ask you, well, the department books are, the head of department would be very upset if we were just loaning them out. But I suppose if you're interested in finding out about fairy plants and spiritual plants, if we let you borrow these books, would you be going out in the field with that knowledge to look for things?
I would prefer not to. If I'm going to use that, it will be more for personal research.
Ah, well then, would you be willing to share whatever research, whatever you discover about this? We would like to know.
Sure. I even have... how do the Department of Paraveterinary stands on new hybrid species?
Oh, they'd be interested in that, yeah.
Because I just happened to develop for another project a very interesting hybrid strawberry that is able to harness and operate in symbiosis with inorganic life. So after I'm done with this project, maybe instead of this follow-up, I can just hand to you, and whatever you publish, just use our previous publication on the citation. And what is that between fellow Pigsmoke stuff?
That would be a very, very good thing. Yes, yes. Thank you, Professor. That would be wonderful. All right. And so they'll arrange to have these books sent to you. And we'll get back to you studying on that in a moment. So let's go to... Blaze. you get a note, a memo asking for you to come and speak with the head of HR, of Human Resources, who is a long-term member of the staff, and I'm going to write her name down. Her name is, we're going to call her Millie. Millie, Millie. She's this old, withered lady, wears glasses, has a stern look on her face. Not sure if you've encountered her many times, but you know that she's considered kind of a hard ass. She's tough. And you have been called to her office.
Can I try to cut through some red tape for Mortimer while I'm heading over here to get those skeletons?
You can.
Like those things would be in similar places. I don't know.
Yeah. You could do that, or you could do a purchase order. But yeah, you could probably cut through red tape to try and arrange for that, because you'd be compelling the school to provide a service. Okay. So we'll have you do that. Let's have you have your meeting with HR, and then after that, we'll do you trying to arrange these things for Mortimer.
Sure.
All right. And so as you're shown into her office, she says, Professor Galaxy, please sit down.
All right. Second time I've heard that today.
I have something unpleasant that I need to discuss with you. There's been a complaint from one of the other professors.
What sort of complaint?
Professor Talaman has suggested that perhaps you did some sort of magic to one of her accoutrements, one of her devices. Do you know anything about this?
I may have investigated something in her department as part of research that I'm doing.
Professor Galaxy, I hope you're not saying that you procured something that belonged to Professor Talaman. Did you do that?
I don't know. I merely examined it. She still has all of her accoutrement.
Professor Galaxy, I'm a little concerned that you are playing a bit fast and loose with our rules here at Pigsmoke.
What do you mean?
If you're borrowing or using things from other departments without asking, that's very bad form.
She was right there. I merely looked at one of her objects. I didn't hear her say anything. I don't know why she came to you first.
So you did not deactivate one of her magical items?
If I did, it wasn't on purpose.
All right, let's have you roll now that red tape.
All right.
As we're trying to divert attention from you that's been brought on you, and you're also wanting to. We'll have this add in. You know, you trying to get some bodies for Mortimer. We'll see how you roll on the first bit of that to see how well you'll get to do with the second.
All right. Oh no, another 6.
Oh.
This is not going
So,
well today.
before you can even ask for these bodies, Millie goes, I'm not sure, Professor Galaxy, but something about your denial is making me suspicious. I'll be keeping an eye on you, especially.
Great. I look forward to it.
And so as you stand up, she sort of clicks her tongue at you as you leave. And I'd like for you to mark a burnout as you have had this talking to and know that HR is now keeping an eye on you. How much burnout does that give you?
Just 1.
Excellent. All right. So far, you know, that's just going to be weighing on your mind now that HR is just looking for excuses to come down on you.
All right.
But because of that role, you didn't feel like it was appropriate to ask for bodies. That maybe getting on out was the good idea.
Right.
All right. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Antonia and Mortimer, seems like y'all were talking a little bit here on the side about that, about the tree of endless roots and all of that. How would y'all like to go about investigating that? Do you want to use the books, Antonia?
Yeah, I went to the book, so that's probably Delve Deeper.
I think so. And that'll be kind of your thing for this week. If you do exceptionally well, then I may let you do a second. Like if you end up getting a 12 or better, I'll let you do a second time consuming, so you could bring in a teaching if you wanted to. But that's how I'm going to work it. They suggest in the book, you know, if someone does really well on a time consuming, they might can fit a couple of time consumings in a week.
Okay. 11.
Oh, so close.
So 11.
So 3 questions.
3 questions are okay. I think I can add D1 to the research track instead of one of the questions.
It would be instead of asking all of your questions.
Oh, I thought it was 1-to-1.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It is 1-to-1. So yes, you can.
Okay, so one of them I added to the track box.
Okay.
To represent what the process we make learning about spiritual plants and how we can replicate these for experimental design.
Excellent. And I'll tell you what that means in a moment. I'll let you get your other 2 questions out of the way.
And I think one of the questions is, what could I use this for?
Okay. As you're studying this and figuring out these spiritual plants, and you're in particular kind of looking for this tree of endless roots, what you find is that if you could get a sample, like a shoot, you know how they can get little shoots off of a plant and you could splice them with other plants and have them grow together. If you could get one of those, it would cause that that spiritual energy that's drawing in the materials from the endless roots tree. You could probably incorporate that into your plant and have that similar effect.
Okay, and as I start to get this bigger picture, and I learn more about the spiritual reality, and I think about the more practical material applications that I've been experimenting with, what here is not as it appears to be.
Ah, that's excellent. As you're reading more about this tree, it is in fact that it is not a tree in this mortal world. Its roots stretch throughout many different realms. and it draws from all of these various places. And so you can, the tree, you can see an imprint of it here in this material world, but there's probably that tree in every world. And so, you know, you could go and approach it from, you know, out in your forest that's here. And you do discover it's in the forest near Pigsmoke. But if you wanted to go and travel on, say, an astral plane, you could go and do the same thing. It stretches across all the different realities.
Okay, so as I start thinking about that, I start to see how it's actually very close to the principles of alchemy, and I go to Mortimer's office, and I kind of barge in, say, "We need a sample of this plant," and I take out a figure from one of the books. You see, this plant, it operates as an axis mundi between different worlds, so its spirit transcends reality. We need to get a sample of this.
Oh, yes, of course. And I like step back from Maxwell, and you see that there is like one more than usually active skeleton, just like beating the others in some miniature games. Yes, of course. I should arrange an adventuring party. So you say it's I'll like bring them out of the following
of the
nearby area.
Take a small cut, a shed, something that we can grow it back, and then we can transplant its material into our own plants, and then we can get this transubstantial nature of the spirits into our own plants, and then they should be able to harness these photosynthetic capacities in a way that goes beyond simple organic compounds.
Perfect. Professor Bandoni, that's an amazing discovery. I will supervise this No, I can't because I have this extra classes. I will send the adventuring party to cut off some of the roots, dig it up, and bring it back. So I hope that they will do it quickly. We'll see. Sometimes they get lost in the woods.
Excellent, Professor Blackrose. Send in the boneheads.
Yes. Anything else, Professor Bandoni?
No, just want to get my hand on that shoot.
Yes, I can totally imagine that. It will be really fascinating. So right. I suppose I will just arrange it. It looks like a military meeting where I have the zombies and kind of show on the screen the location option of the tree, and I like show them how to dig it up and how to cut the root, and yeah, I send them. I send my bunch of adventurers, and we see them like running out, like happily into the woods.
I love it. Oh, fantastic! All right, well let's have you roll then the Walking Dead move and see how they do.
Yeah, I feel I'm overusing it, so I should rely on something else, but it's just so nice.
It's perfectly fine.
It's a 9.
So either they're coming back quickly with something that isn't quite right, or they come back with what's right, but take longer to return.
Yeah. Let's have some interesting things happen. Yeah, I think Mortimer like really orders them to come back quickly because he wants to get this as done as quickly as possible because he doesn't enjoy doing double classes for Professor Snee. So whatever, just quick.
All right, and so they head out, and they're only gone for a few hours before several of them but not all of them return. And you see that they've brought, each of them have brought different cuttings that they have with them. But as you're looking at them, all of the cuttings that they have are from, none of them come from an oak. All of them seem to be, from like vines. Though one of them has brought back, it's a vine, but on the end it has this pod, and you see as they're bringing it, the pod's going like a little mouth, and it's biting at their skeleton body. It's not doing anything because it's just a skeleton, but it's biting at it. And as it comes into your office, as they bring it in, it looks at you and tries to bite towards you. But doesn't seem like they managed anything you were exactly looking for. And like I say, 2 of them are missing.
Oh boy, it seems I'll have to venture out alone at night, being totally in the lack of sleep. Well, it totally looks like a scene from Alien, where I hold this thing and try to make it not bite me, and then I probably dump it into some trash bin and just move, sure, take it out.
Fantastic. I'm going to switch over to you real quick, Blaze. And with your time you have for this week, are you wanting to teach some? And do you have a research project in particular you'd like to be working on?
I was thinking of delving deeper into this weird acting student.
Okay, into little Sally Cinnamon?
Yeah, Sally Cinnamon.
All right. Well, then, let's see. I guess that would be a delve deeper then, dealing with her.
Mm-hmm.
Roll a research. And what are you doing are you following her around? Do you bring her in for a teacher conference? What do you do?
That's a good question. I was originally imagining what the other people were doing, like going to the cafeteria and asking other professors if they noticed anything weird about her. Yeah.
All right, then. Let's have you roll then that roll, and we'll see how people come back with you with information.
All right.
You're a doggy.
Yeah, there's gardeners nearby, so she's barking at them. What role is that? That's research?
Yes, sir.
So I'm terrible at researching and got a 4 or 5, but yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, you're going around and you're asking these other professors who are saying things like, she was always such a bright student, but now she seems so distracted. And you're hearing from several of them that they've seen her do odd things. But part of, as you're talking with them and trying to keep an eye on her, you see her in the dorms. And you watch her as she sneaks into another student's room. Do you go and follow in after her? Do you get someone? What do you do?
Can I kind of want to cast a spell to see if something is controlling her, right?
Okay. That seems like that is right in your department.
Are they saying I should roll small incestuous world to get information instead of go deeper, I guess?
You certainly could have.
I'd probably do better.
Yeah, let's have you do that. That's a good idea.
All right. I did not do better. Got a 4.
A 4. All right, then. Well, then, as I said before, things stand. Though I think, too, as you're asking so much about her, some of these professors are a little kind of with her acting so strangely and you inquiring about her, there might be some suspicions going around that you've done something, that you're the reason she's acting so distracted. But you see her go into this room. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I think I'll try to cast a spell to banish whatever is controlling her.
So you're going to open up the door and cast at her?
Yeah. Without looking, of course.
Ah! All right. Well, then, what does the spell look like? What is it? What is our visual of it as you cast away?
I think it's just like a strong gravity, like pulling the spirits down out of the body.
Okay. Is there some energy to it, or is it invisible other than you making motions?
I think they can feel it but not like see anything. Like it affects the room, that way I can just cast it in that direction without looking too much.
All right, roll your sorcery.
Because this is something I'm good at, banishing. Well, if I'm trying to banish something, I think I can do it with bureaucracy instead. That's one of my moves. On an extraplanar creature. And this time I rolled a 2 plus 2 is 4. I'm really not doing well.
Oh, such bad luck. Oh, the dice. Always the enemy. All right. You swing open the door and kind of not looking. And maybe it's because you're not looking that that things go astray. Or maybe it's because what you're trying to banish, maybe it's not extra dimensional, or maybe that's not exactly the the effect that you're hoping for. Because you hear a rustle behind you, and suddenly Sally has leapt up onto you. And she seems to be trying to bite your neck. You hear her going, "Your essence, your lovely life essence," as this little girl is scrambling up your back, and you could feel her take a big old bite of the right behind your neck.
Well, I figured out what's going on, please.
I think I'm going to have you get hurt.
What do you do? Track or something here?
I'm not sure if I have a hurt track set up on it, because you only have 1 and 2, and you have gotten healed of your other one.
Okay.
So you could just kind of keep up with you've gotten 1, and on that second one you're heading off to the hospital.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
Maybe I'll need to go to the hospital if I become a vampire.
Well, and again, she's just gnawing at your neck. It's not like, she takes a bite into you. It hurts. It's bleeding. But what are you doing with her? She's hanging onto your back. What do you do?
I think I'll maybe run around the room, right? Because I can't pull her off, and I don't want to try to hurt her, so I'll just let gravity do its thing again.
You slinging around, and we see things knocked off of desks as she finally is pulled free as you're moving, and she looks back up at you, and you can see the blood trickling down. "Professor, you taste wonderful."
Says, "Not going to help your grade."
Do you run off? What do you do?
Can I? Are there any hints around here about what she's been reading or looking at? Maybe
you see that over in a little terrarium that there is a like an iguana, and you could see that she was busily trying to get into the cage to get to the iguana, probably to eat it.
I think I'll lead her to the hospital and let them deal with it.
All right, so you're going to grab hold of her and try and drag her off to the hospital.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll pull off of you as you're hauling this child who, you're kind of keeping at arm's length, that she's trying to bite at you when she can, and at other times she's sort of staring at you creepily. Over to you, Mortimer. You're saying you're going out to this tree. Are you going to take or ask Antonia to go with you? Are you going alone?
I think because I have to deliver double classes, I think I should first deliver the class today, and then at night when I'm finally free of all the classes, then I can think about going out.
Okay, cool. Why don't we go ahead and have you roll teach then?
Yeah, I hope you are having a lot of moves in mind, because it's probably gonna be another fail. But let's see. No, it's not a fail. It's actually an 8.
Excellent. So you get to mark experience. You're going to get a student coming to you. I have a good idea. All right. So as you're teaching, and which class are you teaching? Are you teaching one of your classes, or is this Professor Sneak's class again?
I think last week I was doing for Professor Snee, so this time I think we are doing what could I be teaching on Life and Death that would be interesting? Resurrection is quite obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm teaching. It's a class about calling disease spirits. So we are having some dead bodies, and we are trying to summon the spirits so that the families can have the last words with them, and so on. And these are kind of fakely prepared from my laboratory with some rat spirits inside of them.
Cool. All right. And so these students, this is exciting stuff. So they're really rapt and just looking and staring and interested, asking questions. And so as the class ends, one of the students comes up to you and says, Professor,
yes,
having watched this, well, my roommate has been acting kind of strange, a little like this. He says he's been talking to dead people. In particular, a dead janitor who's been coming around, and he showed me something, sir. He had bite marks, 2 bite marks on his neck.
I wish I could talk with you, but I'm sorry, I'm very busy. Bite marks, dead janitors, some university fairy tales. I don't know if maybe you can drop by with me with the student next week. I can talk to them, but I'm super busy. I'm sorry.
Of course, Professor. Of course. And since you don't help him with his problem, that's a burnout box.
Yeah.
What's that get you up to? 2?
It gets me up to 2, but you also said that when I'm covering for Snee, I take another one. So I thought I hit 3. So maybe they catch me before I venture at night.
Okay. Well, do you want them to catch you before the adventure, or do you want to be called into the office after you're adventuring?
I think it might be fun as I'm getting back, and then the Ichiro grabs me if I return successfully, and then as I'm getting back, the Ichiro will find me.
Okay, excellent. And I'm going to pull off of you before we head the adventure, but I'm interested. Are you going to take anyone with you, or are you going alone?
I don't know. It depends how much in detail do we want to get. This game doesn't seem to be handling adventuring very well, and
it's a very simple straight roll.
Yeah. So no, I said to Antonia that I will be handling this, so I'll probably go along. I'm not sure if Antonia told me about the troll lurking in the forest, so I probably think I'm totally safe. Like, and I need to find my 2 lost zombies. Yeah.
All right. So cool. So I'm going to pull off of you a moment and go to you, Antonia. During this week, we've done your kind of delve deep bit. So that was your time consuming and it helped your research. Are you going to teach this week?
Yeah, I don't have the need to teach, but I think I'll teach. Yeah.
It's always good for the XP.
Yeah, always good for the XP. Also, maybe we can see more students. Okay, let's roll. I have a 10.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, you have been a great teacher so far. I think you've had 10 on both your teaching roles. So these students are so far not bothering you at all. You had given them these tasks to do. They are, coming back in. But I am going to mention that little Margaret, one of these things that you had put in there was turning lead to gold, which you figured there was nobody in your class that was going to manage that. But little Margaret has shown up and she's got a lump of gold. She says, "Oh, Professor, I went ahead and studied into the transmutation, and look what I made."
Oh, interesting. So you can consider yourself a proper alchemist now.
Oh, thank you, Professor. Oh, and she seems so excited. But something in your mind says there is no way this little girl has mastered turning lead to gold.
Tell me, which protocol did you use? Did you use the Paracelsus one or the Nicholas Flamel one?
Oh, the second one. That's what I used. Yes, Professor. Uh-huh. And you see she's sort of trying to back away.
So, the Flamel protocol is infamous because of the amounts of impurities that it includes. So that's why it requires an universal solvent that can only be synthesized by a philosopher's stone. How did you acquire your philosopher's stone solution?
You see her eyes open wide. I borrowed it. And she smiles with this completely unconvincing smile.
She starts thinking, there's plenty of philosopher's stones in the department, so maybe she could sneak in and kind of shit around. You know what? Why don't you try to replicate this and let's consider this a work for extra credit, okay?
All right, Professor, sure, thank you. And she runs out of the classroom. But she did leave you that chunk of gold.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but you got your XP and you're teaching wonderfully. And I think we're going to take a break real quick. We'll take our little 5-minute break and we'll get to the adventure. And then we have a few other things afoot and we'll see how those go. So see y'all in about 5.
I've seen you have some recordings of Fellowship on your channel.
Yeah, I did. I like Fellowship a lot.
Oh, Fellowship is so good.
So what are your thoughts on Fellowship versus Dungeon World?
I'll admit I'm not a huge fan of Dungeon World. There's something in it that just never quite does what I want it to. But Fellowship has this. First off, I like how much of it is player description. Fellowship lets you do a lot of building that world as a player. I think that it does a neat thing with mass combat that Dungeon World really doesn't, where it wants you to have these things that are there where you're fighting big groups of stuff. But honestly, it wants you to get away from them, avoid them, figure out ways to trick them, that sort of stuff. But it does a real good job with it. I found it to be a really nice game for fantasy. And Dungeon World, like I say, something in Dungeon World just never quite hits it for me.
What in your experience is like the minimum length of the game for Fellowship? Because to end the game, you have to defeat the Overlord. Overlord has like 4 power stones. So at shortest like 4 sessions, but probably like.
I figure my idea is that Fellowship really wants to campaign. It wants to be a longer set. So like when I run it short in 4 sessions, I'm usually going to have it be some arc where they encounter a general of the Overlord, deal with them. If they're going to encounter the Overlord, they're going to thwart a plan, and he's going to get away. And then I think that to really play it, to get to a full arc, you probably need 12 to 16 sessions. You really do.
But the short run, was it satisfying to not defeat the Overlord at the end? Was it still good?
They felt like it. The players enjoyed it. We had something that was really culminating. They defeated one of the big generals. They caused some real trouble. They caused a damage to the Overlord. So it felt good in that sense, and it's one that we might come back to. I told, as we played, we talked about we may come back and continue it along. But yeah, it had a nice, satisfying end.
Thanks. I don't want to derail our session any longer, but
I'm
very curious.
So Asher, you back? We'll give Asher a second, but we're going to go. Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I was just eating, so
that's all right. So what I think I'm going to do with us here is we're going to have Mortimer doing his adventuring, which I'm going to go back and forth with. At the same time, Blaze is getting to the hospital with little Sally Cinnamon, and kind of bounce that back and forth. And then once that's over, we're probably going to start the next week, and I'll come back to you, Antonia, and see what we're doing that next week. Sound good? So I'm going to start with you going out into the deep, dark forest there, Mortimer. You've kind of been given the direction of where to go. And as you head into it, it's night. And there are the odd sounds. And you know that this is where experiments from the university have gone. You know there are magical creatures that live out here. It is a... It is a mystic place. There are a lot of little power things that professors over the centuries have put here. It's a creepy, kind of scary place. So as you're moving through, did you take any of your zombies with you?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I think I should have taken some of them.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I have them, and as we are going, I'm like questioning them. So where are the other 2? Where is Bob and Jerry? Hey, do you know where's Bob and Jerry? Where did you lose them? Oh, you useless.
And so as you're moving along with them, what is it that first lets you realize that you're being watched?
I think maybe in the distance we see this big like orange or yellow eyes, just like opening and then closing and then appearing somewhere else.
Nice.
And
All right.
I think only I noticed them. My entourage just walks after me.
So you see these eyes. What do you do?
Well, so far I'm feeling kind of in my element. I'm feeling really stressed by this students doing extra class. So if you're out here and something, and I will like, if I'm gonna see it, I will probably like shout at it to go away to release my anger. So I'm like really strongly walking forward, not really paying attention to this. Like you said, probably some failed experiment watching us, but I have my entourage, so nothing will really wanna mess with us.
All right, so you're get on, and you see the eyes sort of withdraw, and you hear clunk, 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 moving away, but and you hear kind of the crashing of some branches, and then it just stops, just gets completely quiet as you continue along. Meanwhile, Blaze, you've got little Sally, and you're taking her towards the hospital. She's acting all strange, and as you get there, you see one of the nurses look up at you. She has blue eyes, 3 of them, and she looks over at you and, "Oh, Professor, something wrong?"
Yes, one of my students seemed to have caught something. She tried to bite me.
Oh, well, we can't have that. Oh, no, not biting the professors. That's just unseemly. She heads over and we see Sally try and nip at her fingers as she takes her from you. And she sees your arm and also sees your neck. She looks at you. Professor, it looks like you could also use a little patching up.
Yeah, I probably could.
And so she motions you in, and she gets Sally over there, and another nurse comes up. They tie her down, and they begin bringing over little tinctures and little bottles of liquid, and you see them rub some on her head, and they're mumbling as the nurse that greeted you takes you over, and she pulls out some bandages and an ointment. She says, "Oh, Professor, this shouldn't hurt a bit. Well, at least not too much. Well, would you care for something to bite down on?"
I'll be fine.
And she pulls out the ointment and rubs it into your neck. Why don't you roll the hospital hospitality roll?
Great.
As this thing begins to burn?
Hope my luck changes.
You're rolling with nothing on this one.
And I got a 5.
Oh, my dear boy. So as it burns, it hurts so bad, and she puts a bandage on it. You will be cured. You are no longer injured, hurt.
That's good.
But as you are kind of rubbing it as she's walked away, you rub it and you hear, "Hey, buddy, be careful," from underneath the bandage.
I'll try to look at it in a mirror.
You pull the bandage to the side, and that bite, even though it's healed up, as you're looking in the mirror, the sort of scar of it goes, hey, you're a handsome sort.
Thank you.
You should put down that you have a little mouth that is chatting with you. We'll come around to maybe you giving a name for your new friend and deciding if turtlenecks are going to be common in your future. But for now, little guy talking from the side of your neck. Meanwhile, back in the scary forest, you, Mortimer, I've been moving along when you you could see up on a hill, the moonlight shining on it, this enormous oak rising up. Up in its branches, you could see little lights, things flying around. And you would swear you could hear little laughter from up in the branches.
Hey, who's up there?
Flies down on their little dragonfly wings, you see 2 pixies. Unusual, since they are fairy creatures. One of them comes down.
I wonder what is a pixie.
Little fairy, got dragonfly wings. They sparkle. Tinkerbell is kind of a pixie from Peter Pan.
Okay. I'm sorry. What did they respond at all?
Yes, they fly down to you. One of them looks at the other. It's a mortal man. Yes, it's a mortal man coming to the tree. Hello, mortal man.
Hello. I wasn't aware you're living in our university forests.
Well, we came following our queen. Our queen.
You came. And who is your queen?
Oh, the queen of summer, her most beauteousness.
Is she around to have a talk with her, or?
No, she's not here. She probably would be cross if she knew we came.
Do you know where I can find her?
They look back the way you came. She's in the big building, the big castle. Yes, she's in the castle. Pointing at Pigsmoke.
Oh, this castle. Yes, of course. And what is the name of her beautiful queen?
Well, let's roll a schmooze then, I suppose.
Yeah.
As you're talking with them and they're chittering and they seem friendly enough.
I think my charisma is there, so we'll see. Well, I see luck is with my charisma today. It's a 9.
Excellent. As you begin asking, of their queen's name, one of them kind of flutters up, and it's right beside your ear, so it's sort of tickling with its wings. A name is a valuable thing. If we give you a name, you've got to give us a valuable thing in return.
Okay, that seems fair. What do you want?
They look. Do you have anything? Tell me, what do you carry with you? That is something precious to you? Something, a ring? Is there? What do you have with you that is precious to you?
I think my black lipstick, because it's like, it's not a normal lipstick. It's made from some, I don't know, very rare dirt, from some ashes of some dead people, because it has to be very black lipstick.
Gotcha. And so it flutters over it. You feel its little hand rub against your lip. And as it flutters back, it rubs its own lips. And you see now it suddenly has this black lipstick on its lip. Ooh, we want the pretty lips. We want the pretty lips like the mortal man.
Fine. Yeah, I will like take this like lipstick. Here I have.
And it grabs it, it sort of flutters down, flutters real hard, pulling it up. And as it comes by your ear, it says, our queen is queen of summer. She is Titania. She is the glory like the sun. She is beautiful like the flowers. But she hates to be called Mab. She hates to be called Mab. And as it flutters up with your lipstick, you see more of these pixies come down, and they're all squabbling over it as they head up into these tree limbs. And as they flutter up, there's sort of a laughing, giggling amongst them all that then suddenly goes quiet. And their lights sort of dim, and it looks like they're hiding behind leaves as you hear thump, thump, thump coming towards you. And I'm going to cut over to you, Asher. You there?
I'm here.
All right. As you're there with your little talking, looking in the mirror, behind you, you hear thrashing, and you hear someone speaking. No, the master will be mad. The master will be mad. As you look back and you see little Sally Cinnamon struggling on her bed as the nurses are putting on these oils and various things on her, and and then she spits up blood, just sprays it everywhere. The nurses go, ooh, jump back. And as she begins breathing easier, and one of these nurses looks over and says, Professor Galaxy, you should have told us. She was vampire possessed.
Oh no. I might have to check the whole dorm now.
And as you say that, little Sally, who's breathing easier and starting to rest, you can see she's going to sleep. She looks over at you and says, Professor Galaxy, my master, he comes looking for you. He says he wants to be a star. And she falls asleep.
All right. That's ominous.
Meanwhile, Antonia, I haven't done anything with you, and I feel like I really should. We're going to wrap up the adventure in just a second, but I'd like to come back to you for at least a moment here. We've had you kind of talking with those the para-veterinary guys who had wanted you looking through things, and you'd found out about the tree through them. One of them is going to come by your lab. And you see he looks really kind of concerned. He says, Excuse me, Professor.
Yes, how may I help you?
Well, we've run into a little block taking care of one of the heads of department's pet. Something has been occurring with it, and, well, we just don't understand what. We were hoping perhaps that you could look into it. It may not be a medical issue.
I mean, I'm an alchemist. My experience with pets is more like constructs.
Well, some of us are beginning to believe that this may be more of the essence of the beast problem. You see, Professor Inshiro has a small pet, Sparky, a little dragon. But lately, it has been, well, acting very strangely. Sometimes it gets a little insubstantial. Things just seem to fall right through it.
Are you sure it's alive?
Well, I know that it was certainly inhabiting a full body. It shouldn't be, well, ceasing quite like that.
Tell me, does it tend to phase between other material objects?
Well, it sometimes will be sitting on its perch and then just fall right through it.
I can see how that can be a problem, especially if one of these days it just disappears until the center of the earth.
Yes, Professor Ichiro would be very upset.
I suppose you also want to keep this under wraps.
Well, we try not to have to ask for help all that often, but, well, you're a friend.
I think maybe I can make some kind of containment unit that stabilizes Sparky while he's there, but I have to tell you, you probably still need to find a more permanent solution, because I don't think he'll be very pleased when he discovers what is happening.
Yes. Well, thank you. Any help you can give, please drop by. Sparky is at the veterinary.
I'll just make a prototype containment chamber, and I'll appear on your apartment.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor. And they'll head out.
Yeah, I think I'll try to do that. I'll use my department move, self-sufficient, to create a prototype for a molecular stabilizer chamber or something of the sort.
All right. What's it look like? Does it have is it like electricity and energy, or is it more like some sort of arcane runes around it?
I would say it looks like a cross between a faraway cage with 2 Tesla coils, and the electricity, instead of flowing with the normal flow, it makes runic symbols that transmute in different elements, so it assures that whatever is inside conforms to those elements.
Excellent.
And stabilizes the molecular bonds.
All right. Roll it up. Let's see what how you do.
7.
Ooh. You make it, but choose one.
I think the most interesting is either it has unwanted side effects or someone else really wants it.
Which do you like?
I like both of them so much. Okay, let's go with side effects, because I kind of want to see what happens.
All right. So you've made the thing. We'll come back to you when you go and put it on Sparky, because we're going to hop over to you, Pavel. And you are out there at the tree. This is it. But you hear this thump, thump. I'm going to go ahead and have you roll the adventuring move, and then we'll describe out what occurs.
Yeah, I just wonder, because my zombies
can do this for you.
When you have them fight for you, I roll with sorcery and not with nothing.
Yay!
So I wonder, do I really need to fight it? Do I need to use my zombies over here, or this is like? I
think I could set up that this thumping, stepping through, you see the troll, and I describe to me what does this troll look like?
It's a fey troll. Yeah, I think it looks like, imagine something made from mud and grass. It has the grass is the body hair, and probably it has like a club made from a tree.
Excellent. Oh, I love it.
And yeah, so it's somewhere between a golem made from the earth and a tree, and a walking tree, some weird mix.
Excellent. Kind of sounds like Swamp Thing or something. So it you see it step in. So really the question comes in, how do you want to deal with it? Do you want to fight it? Do you want to try and talk to it? Do you want to do some sort of spell on it?
This is not a game about fighting, so I think I will try to talk to it first.
Okay.
And I would call out, "Hey, you there! Don't step any closer. We are here. We'll do our thing, and then we will leave you and the little guys alone."
It goes, You can't hurt the tree.
We are about to really hurt it, and I like take my wand, but I don't really wanna hurt you, so you better go back where you came from, or we're gonna have some trouble over here.
He looks at you, and he looks at the tree. Must protect tree. Tree way home. Now, you know you're not going to have to cut down the tree. You're just looking for a splice from it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because I'm not really looking on smooth. I'm looking on side because we haven't rolled it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it? I'm not a native speaker. What does it actually mean to give someone peace of your mind?
It would be like you either being angry and saying, look, I'm doing this, and if you get in my way, you're going to regret it, sort of thing. Or it could be more along the lines of, you making a good reason that they shouldn't. I'm just going to take something small. It's not going to be a big deal. It's you expressing yourself kind of strongly and with anger or with logic, or you're telling someone what to do.
Yeah. Oh, I think Mortimer is like really stressed out, and he like takes his wand. Maybe he like shoots like a death ray, and the nearby tree just like almost turns to dust. And he says, and he shouts, "Listen, you ugly creature! I have a very stressful day. I'm going to take as much of this tree as I want, and if you don't want to get hurt, you're gonna stay there or run back where you came from. And I don't care, because if you come closer, you're gonna get hurt."
Excellent. All right, then. Roll that scathe.
Yeah, it's a 7.
All right. So the target has to choose one, but someone important witnesses or learns of your rudeness, and they're not pleased. I like that. Okay. The troll looks at you, and you see him. You want tree, peace, me help. And you see him move over and reach towards the base of the tree, and he calls and motions towards it as you see this shoot come up from the roots of a small part of this tree, and he whispers to it, and as it comes free, you see it's even got a little root stem to it. Here, you no hurt trees. And he looks over at the one that you turn to ash. No hurt trees.
Yeah, I probably like have one of the zombies just come with like a really big. You don't hold trees in the bucket. You hold them in this. How do you call this? Porcelain thing.
Like a vase or a.
Yeah. You come on, we're here with the vase, and they like give him like a really huge vase. The zombie, and he like can dump the root into the vase.
And he cowers back up against the tree. He's clearly scared of you. And so you've successfully gotten your sprout. Do you say anything else to him, or you just turn around and head home?
Yeah, I don't think I have too much. He gave me some interesting information, but I'm not. First have to investigate this fairy queen in the castle. So, yeah, yes, very well. Good evening, good night, and I like flap my cloak, and we're going back.
Okay, as you're heading off, and you don't see this, but it's a movie sort of thing. So we see the camera pull back from you, and we see the forest, and it pulls back all the way to Pigsmoke. And standing at one of the windows of Pigsmoke, we see Titania looking across the forest back towards you. And with her, there are little sprites floating around. She goes, "He's going to be a problem, isn't he, dears?" And the little pixies go, "Problem."
And we see half of the pixies with like a black
Yeah.
lipstick on them already.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's wonderful. All right. And you come back with your splice, and we'll return it to Antonia. And Antonia, you're busily working on your thing, and I think that's where we're going to end out your week, is you working on the thing and getting it ready. As the splice arrives, you, because of having done this, this will be your 6th piece of your research as this comes back and the two of you splice it together and these strawberries begin putting out these enormous roots. And describe to me, I'll have each of you describe to me. I'll start with you, Antonia. What does this plant look like? And as it's now all of this amalgam of things, what does the finished plant look like?
So, because we went back with the original citrus, we have a layer of a second layer over the citrus fruits, which shimmers, and as the plant is subject to daylight, we have that this shit accumulates, and this then reverses the flow into the roots and flows back. And as the fruit falls from the tree, it's inside, instead of juices, have coalesced into the desired product.
Wonderful. Oh, I love it. So it comes back up into the fruit. Beautiful. And I'm going to ask you, Mortimer, what is it about this plant that makes you think it had, what is this something else this plant does? It doesn't just make these minerals. There's something extra that it does that could be good or bad. But what do you think it is?
Hmm. I think it maybe like the next day, well, after we left it for like a night or something, we come back and we find buried in the soil like a cut in a half dead pixie. So for some reason it has some of this like a gateway to the other realm, a little bit of it. But yeah, so so this half of this pixie like came through, but then it closed. So
So the pixie's dead, or is it just a half a pixie going?
I think it's dead because then it was buried under the soil, and
Okay.
so so it's hard to say the reason was why that. I think the plant can be used to maybe open this portal, or for ill or for good.
Excellent. I love it. So I've written that down. You finished your research, so we're going to be doing the publish. You could choose to publish your work. If you do so, come up with a suitably academic title for the paper, and then you'll roll research. Head researcher on this one, I believe, is you, Ludo, is Antonia.
Mm-hmm.
So between the two of you, decide on a title for it, and then you will get to roll.
I think the title could be something as photosynthesis as a mediator of transmutation in organic tissues, a proof of concept.
All right.
Perfect.
That is, yes. Does that sound good to you there, Pavel?
Perfect.
Excellent. That is certainly suitably academically dense. I like it. All right. So, rolling.
It's Blaze research, right?
Yes.
8. Oh.
Okay. You all get to mark XP. that we're working on it. It also will mean that Professor Snee has to go back to teaching his own class, which is good for you.
Whew.
Yeah. But I will choose one. I like that since you've published, the dean's going to come to you and is going to say, "Oh, Professor, this is marvelous. This is exactly what Pigsmoke is all about." And again, the dean's that golden golem figure. So as you're looking at him, your face is reflected back in his as he goes, This is exactly what will bring our reputation higher. I have an exclusive set of students who I believe would definitely be a big help, would learn a great deal from your processes. I'm going to assign you a seminar. I think you really must teach these students. So you're going to have to teach class before you get the chance to delve deeper or publish again. As he has brought together some special worthy students to learn your process. Excellent that we finished our publish. I want to get to you, Mortimer, as you're called in to speak with Ichiro. And you will receive, as you've gotten back to the coming back in, and it's, just at dawn as you've been out all night. And waiting for you is a note to come and see Ichiro. Now, he usually keeps office hours in the dead of night, so you're honestly a little late for when he wanted to speak to you.
Yeah, but so I think I actually go to him the next night.
Okay.
I had this plan to deliver so I can get Snee off my back, and then we had to publish and everything. So yeah, it's the next night I'm going to him, probably at midnight. I'm walking through the corridors, and we hear the clocks hit the midnight and some.
Mm-hmm. And so as you arrive at his office, and he, the door kind of opens on its own. And inside, you see he has a black desk that's carved almost like a sarcophagus. He has various ancient-looking scrolls in little cubbies all around his office. He has several skeletal remains of things that are mounted, some of them standing, some of them up against the wall. And as you come in, though, he's just an enormous skeletal figure. But you see he's weeping. He's crying. He looks up at you. Oh, there's no tears. He's just wiping the skeleton. But he...
Oh, Professor, if it's the wrong time, I can come back tomorrow. No problem. And I just almost turn and start to leave.
No, please, Professor Blackrose. Come in. Sit down.
Yes, I clean a little bit of dust from the chair. Yes, Professor Ichiro.
Professor, we have been getting some complaints. You have been taking perhaps more than your allotted number of bodies. That you've been a little careless with some of the bodies you've taken.
In my heavy research that has been recently published, we had to go through some more bodies than usual. So,
Professor, you cannot be using up our scant resources just for your own research. I believe that you have to remember, you are new to this department. Perhaps if you could find some way to replenish the department's resources, people would look a little more friendly on it.
I'm already working on it, Professor. I have my trusted friend, whom I did a favor to, and he's supposed to get us back the deal with the grave diggers.
Well, if you could manage that, I believe that people will be very happy for your joining our department. I should mention that Zoe has not been back in touch, so it's very possible that we will be looking for a new professor at the beginning of fall term.
Oh, wow. Horrible news, but that's a good thing for me, I guess.
It could be. Try to find something that endears you to the department, Professor Blackrose.
Of course, Professor Ichiro. I'm really grateful. But if I can take a moment of your time, I was wondering if you heard about some ancient thing living in the basement of our mighty school that could be born of pure death and can spill some secrets from beyond the grave. Was wondering if you ever heard some rumors about it.
He peers over at you, and I don't know. I feel like we roll schmooze so much. I think why don't we do something a little different? Let's have you roll on that small incestuous world because I like the results on it for this.
Sure.
As you're saying this to him, he's going to kind of sit back and look like he's really pondering what you're saying.
I have an 8.
All right. Choose one of. You run into someone you'd really rather have avoided. You catch wind of bad news that will affect your department, or you see 2 other faculty members doing something highly dubious and you're implicated or drawn in. And this, I will frame it for this scene. What you think?
I choose. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that you're choosing. To other faculty members do something. I think it would be cool to have this bad news because maybe then I will have more motivation to work on this with Blaze. So catch wind of the bad news that can affect your department. That
Excellent. Cool. He leans in back towards you. Well, you're new to the department, so you would not know about the previous head. Her name was Brunhilde. Writing that down. Brunhilde. She taught here for 2 centuries nearly, but she had come originally from Scotland. It was said that even when she was younger, she was quite different. But as she grew older, it's said that she grew mad. I know when I joined the department, she had already been here for years. She sought the dead who would give her terrible news. And then she would cry and would tell everyone of these horrible foretellings. But eventually her work took her over. She began to spout these doomed prophecies, these utterings of such horror that those that heard them, well, some would go mad, others would die. Eventually, she herself became a ghost, a death-calling ghost, a banshee. She was put, it is said, that the hospital could not treat her. So they found somewhere for her to reside beneath the castle.
That's really, really dark story. I really wish nobody will seek that place.
I agree. Should she find her way back, she very well may wish to reclaim her position as head of the department.
Thank you for all the information, Professor Ichiro. I believe I better spend this night preparing for my classes.
Yes. I hope I see you next under better circumstances. And as you stand up to leave, you see him reach down under his desk and, "Are you all right?" And he picks up Sparky.
Mm-hmm.
And as he picks him up, he gets him up to his lap. And then Sparky just sort of falls through the chair. And he goes, "No, Sparky." And so I think we're probably coming to the end of our session. I think we have, we finished our research. I think yes,
let's
sir.
want Ted to have an opportunity to teach as well. In the chat.
Yes, you should do so.
Yeah, I need to teach my students how to deal with vampires because they obviously don't have any idea.
Yes, if anyone has not taught, have you not taught?
No, I haven't.
Then go ahead and roll that, sir.
All right. Do I have any? I don't think I have any special teaching abilities yet. So these dice don't like me.
How'd you do?
I got a 6 or 5.
Oh my. Well, and so I'm going to let you bark at XP as teaching, but along with that, your classes, as you're teaching these folks, you're actually sending a lot of your students to the hospital as they're going through these spirits that these vampires you're trying to teach them to deal with seem to be really playing or preying on your students. Yours in particular. And I think I'm going to have you mark 2 burnout as it's really playing on your mind.
It makes sense.
That'll get you up to what, 3?
Yep.
We'll have a meeting with your head of department next time we play. As for time-consumings, I know that, Antonia, you did a time-consuming, didn't you? Did you do one as well, Professor Galaxy?
I did. Yeah, researching.
That's right. Did you do one, Mortimer?
Nope, I was busy managing my hoard of bones and...
All right. Would you like to do one?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Which is your delve deeper, really.
Yeah. Those are just 2 interesting topics. The Fae and the Banshee, but I already learned quite a lot about Banshee. I'm really interested in this like Fae stuff.
Okay.
So I think I'm like probably my books are I do have some books about life. So probably I'm like researching back together with maybe we see me in my lab together with Maxwell, and we are like speed reading and talking about some Fae in some of the life books.
Okay.
And like bouncing back and forth with some ideas.
Excellent.
Research +1. Yeah, let's roll it and let's see.
Okie doke.
Yeah, it's a 7. Yeah.
You get to ask one.
So, I'm not aware about what is Titania talking with Professor Antonia, but I learned that Titania is the Queen of the Summer. She's here for some reason, which seems very weird. I want to ask what here is not as I said appears to be. Maybe something about their motives, like why they will be coming here, or maybe that there are some more of them here. So what here is not as it appears to be.
All right. And so as you've been doing your research and looking through this, you also have kind of, just like when you've seen her, you've kept in, looked at her, the students around her and things. And as you're reading through, you see this passage that's written in one of your books that talks about the fairies liking or having a habit of coming into our world, taking children back to fairy and leaving in their place some sort of changeling. Sometimes it's a fairy creature. Sometimes it's just a construct of stick and mud made to look like the child with fairy glamour upon it. And as you're reading this passage, we'll have one of those moments in a movie where you're reading the words and it blinks back to you thinking of a moment you saw them to her with her mind-bending class. And you see one of those children there. And you had noticed then the spark of life just did not seem to exist within them. And as you read this, something clicks in your mind that child, that student, was not real. It was some sort of construct.
Yeah. I think maybe as I'm finishing my research, I'm like, probably I'm not sending. Yeah. I think I would use our university email, and I would like send to Blaze and Antonia. We have some important things to discuss. Meet me at my dungeon at the dawn.
Excellent. And I do think we're going to end up our session. We're hitting that time. I'm going to look real quick and see where we are for XP, because I know we're probably not getting a ton, and I want to. That's what I was thinking. Because I kind of, again, 4 sessions seems longer, but I really want to give you guys a chance to do something neat and to develop these characters. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to give 3 XP. That'll put everybody up to having leveled once, some of you with 1 extra. We're just going to call this a mid-run boost, so y'all can get a little build in. And I'm going to try and move these weeks by faster in the second 2. That way, hopefully, we can get a couple of teachings in and that sort of thing. We should think about next time around research projects, another way of getting our XP. We finished one. People who might want to start one, that comes off of a delve deeper. You could start a research project from there, or you could just come up with a cool idea and begin working on it. It also gives us plot hooks that we use to kind of reframe a little bit of what we know, or kind of review. We know that there are these vampires that are roaming around with a master who is interested in Blaze making him a star. We know that Titania is here working some sort of weirdness. She wants to steal memories and information from students, and she may be stealing some away, the whole child off to Arcadia. We know there's a banshee that's been locked away underneath the Pigsmoke, and that may be the same thing that both Talaman and you, Blaze, are looking for. And let's see, is there any other particularly interesting things we know of? I think that's most of our stories going on right now, isn't it? So, next time around, we'll hop into action and be off and about things. I want to just real quick here at the end ask each of you, what you'd like to see next time, what you'd like your character to be doing. That way I can plan for it. So I'm gonna start with you, Asher. What do you kind of want to see next time? What would you like to do?
That's a good question. We talked last time about like painting the scene questions. I think that would be good to do more of, just to get a feel of what this place is. And I'd like to interact with these demon creatures, or like the creatures that we have bound on the way up to my classes.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, like I was thinking of talking to them to prevent vampires from going up there, something like that.
That's a cool idea. That's a neat idea. Okay, we will try. I'll work that into next time. That certainly will start working on the vampire problem. Antonia, Ludo, what would you like to see?
I'll definitely want to see more paint the scene, because we had two on this session and it was really interesting both times. So cool. I think we can use more. And another thing that I feel lacking, because the only move that is like, a discern realities or something that helps player establish fiction, it's delve deeper. I think maybe if we get more opportunities to do delve deeper more often, I think we can also help establish more of the fiction.
I agree. And like I say, I'm going to try and keep us where we're moving through these weeks faster. That'll let us do it more. And I'll try and, like Pavel mentioned, that small incestuous world is a great one also for information gaining. We'll make sure we're trying to hit that a good bit. And so we can start developing some of this information. So cool. I will keep that in mind. Pavel, anything you want to see coming up?
Well, next two sessions, I plan not to do too much research. I want to dive deep into the two plots, the Titania and this Banshee. So I'm planning to not really focus on research, even though the game wants us to, and or at least researching this topic and not like doing some papers because.
Gotcha. And we do also, I forgot to mention, we do also have the plot of you're expected to find a supply of bodies if you can.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
So there's a thread to have mingled in there too. Cool. All right, that sounds excellent. I'll review all this and keep it in mind. And I appreciate y'all playing. I hope y'all had a good time, and we'll be back again next week. I'm going to end the broadcast.